I was just sitting and working at Starbucks right now when I got this clear image and realization of how I can put into words my mindset and how I can explain to you how anytime you feel stuck, lost, unmotivated, or just not in the same mood you were in yesterday when you were getting everything done flawlessly, smoothly, seamlessly, and effortlessly, and today you're not in that mindset anymore and you just don't feel like doing it for whatever reason. And I just got a realization, a clear image of how to put that into words. So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly that. So whenever everything feels super easy, you get everything done effortlessly, you sit down, you work for 5 hours straight. By the end of the work session, you're like, wow, I'm really proud of myself. I got a lot done and I'm ready to do more. And you don't even feel like you want to stop. You feel like you want to keep going. If that ever happened to you, that is most likely because in that moment, in the moment you were super productive, you were getting everything done effortlessly, you were not lost, you were super clear on your intentions, you were super clear on your goals, you knew exactly what you needed to do, even if you didn't have a clear to-do schedule. You just got all these ideas effortlessly. You were most likely, that your internal version was most likely that of a successful version of you, of the version that actually has the things that you want to have. I talked about this previously on this channel, that whenever if you want to achieve something, the easiest and most proven way to do this, to achieve whatever you want to achieve, is act like the person who already has those things. But I never really went deeper into how you should do this. You should do that. How you can act like that person. How do you change your internal state to that of the person who has the things that you want to have? And how do you maintain that and consistently become that version to the point that where you don't even have to rely on these external factors like affirmations and whatnot to keep that identity. And I realized that the easiest way to actually quote unquote lock in and start doing the things that you need to do when you don't feel like doing them is to simply change the internal state to that of the person who has the things that you want to have by just feeling like that person. You need to do the things that make you feel like that person. There's a few ways to do that. The easiest way by far is probably that I found is just affirming it. So you just say it out loud. I'm loaded with cash. I'm loaded with cash. I have money coming in every single day. I'm loaded with cash. It sounds cringe, but this will genuinely, on a subconscious level, if you say it enough times, make you feel like you're loaded with cash, which will then force you to take decisions that will lead you to having that physical reality and being physically loaded with cash. If you just reaffirm that you're loaded with cash, and that applies to anything. If you just keep saying, I'm dressed really nice, I'm dressed really nice, and people look at me all the time when I walk on the street. People look back at me because I'm dressed really, really nice. If you keep saying that every single day, this is just affirmations 101, right? But what a lot of people get wrong about affirmations and reading stuff that makes you feel a certain way is it means nothing, and you might as well read a freaking McDonald's receipt if you don't actually feel that way. If it's just monotonous and it's just routine and you're just reading the affirmations and you don't actually feel anything, you might as well save your time and not actually do that. The only way the affirmations will ever work is if you actually feel the way you need to feel when you're reading them. So if you're reading an affirmation and it's like, I'm grateful that I'm a millionaire. I'm grateful that I'm a millionaire. You read it and you're like, I'm actually not a millionaire. And you never made a single dollar in the past. And you're just, I'm grateful that I'm a millionaire. And you feel nothing. You're just doing it because it's on your to-do list and in your routine for the morning. That is not going to help you. You need to actually you need to make the right affirmations that it will actually be possible for you to feel them. So for example, if you're at $0, you never made any money online, you can say, I'm grateful that I got my first sale. I'm grateful that I just got my first sale. I'm grateful that I'm getting sales every day. That will be a lot easier for your brain to comprehend and believe. Then getting back to my point about times when you feel lost or unmotivated. Whenever you feel that way, the first thing people try to do is look for simple tricks and hacks on getting more productive. Oh, how 2-minute rule, 5-second rule, 10-minute rule, how to start working instantly. What if you feel unmotivated? Just do this now and you will feel motivated. most of these things don't last. And once you do these things, in maybe 1 hour, you're going to start to become less motivated or whatever. And it's just like this little spark of motivation, and then it's going to die down pretty soon. In order to actually get that feeling where everything looks very easy, you know exactly what you need to do, you have that clarity, you're in the flow state. In order to do that consistently every single time, all you need to do is shift your internal state to that of the version of you who already has the things that you have. So when you feel unmotivated or stuck or lost and you just don't want to do the things that you know you need to do, you're not the version of you that you need to be to achieve those things. You're something else. You're your previous identity, your previous frequency. It's trying to pull you back in, the person that you were a few months ago or a few years ago, before you started doing online business and before you got consistent. That's all it is. It's trying to pull you back. It's trying to it's always going to be pulling you back, your previous frequency. And the only way you can stay consistent and the only way you can get out of that lost, stuck, unmotivated position is to become that identity, that person who you need to be in order to get these things, the person who already has these things. So, like I said, if you feel, and this just sounds very counterintuitive, but if you feel that way, if you feel unmotivated and stuck and lost, I wouldn't try to force yourself to work to, just in that same state, just forcing yourself to work, trying to get some things done. You might actually get some things done. Like speaking from my own experience, if you feel very unmotivated and stuck and you're in this weird identity that doesn't actually want to do anything, your previous frequency, your old frequency that's really bad, and you just force yourself to do things anyway that you have on your to-do list. I have done this in the past a lot of times because I didn't know how to properly manage this. Then you might end up doing some things, sure, but the quality of your work is going to drop significantly. Your mood is likely going to drop because your internal state doesn't match the external state, and you feel like your previous frequency, but you're trying to do something that the new frequency is supposed to do. And you're not just going to feel like you want to keep going. You're going to feel like, okay, whatever, I'm going to get this task done and then I'm going to be done. Versus your good identity, the one that you need to strive to become, the one that has the things that you want to have, that version would want to just keep going and not stop and work into midnight and then wake up and first thing, just wake up, get out of bed and start working. That's the version that you want to be. I don't mean to make this confusing. I'm trying to be as clear as possible because I have it so clear in my brain. So instead of just forcing yourself to work when you don't feel like it, first shift your internal state. If there's one thing you take away from this video, it should be this. Instead of instantly trying to react to the physical world by doing physical things and taking physical actions, shift your internal state. That is more important than the physical reality. It's so much more important to change your internal state than trying to affect the external state. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to clean up my desk and I'm going to clean up my room, and then I'm going to feel good to start working, or I'm going to get a coffee and then I'm going to start working, whatever. You need to first start with your internal state. And then once you change that, you're not going to need to even clean your room or take your coffee or whatever. If you're in the right internal state, none of the external physical factors are going to matter. You will just want to work. That's the position that you want to be in. So the first thing you need to do when you feel like you're stuck or unmotivated, or you're looking at the tasks that you need to do for the day and you're like, geez, I don't want to do this. It sounds like a lot. The first thing you need to do, instead of trying to figure out why it happened physically or what to do physically, like maybe I should go to a different place. Like right now I was sitting at Starbucks and there was these weird, obnoxious kids sitting around me that just came from high school or are going to high school, and they were super loud, super annoying. And I was like, it's got to be the environment. It's got to be the environment. And then I was sitting there and thinking about it, and I'm like, no, it's probably not the environment. It's probably what's inside of me and not what's outside, not the external factors. I did end up changing the environment and coming to the hotel room, but that's just to record the video, not because of the kids. Anyway, and if your frequency is strong enough, if my frequency was strong enough, the kids wouldn't even affect me in the first place. I'd probably just tell them to shut the fuck up and then go to a different place. I don't know. It wouldn't affect me. The frequency wasn't strong enough, so it all starts and all stems from the internal state. So, what was I saying? basically, the first thing you should do is change your internal state, right? You feel unmotivated, you feel stuck, you feel unproductive, you don't want to do the things that you have on your to-do list. You need to understand exactly why that is on an internal level. So you probably don't want to do them, like I said before, because you're just not the version of yourself that would want to do them. You're just the previous version of yourself. And I might sound repetitive, but I'm just really trying to drive the point home. So, like I said, instead of affecting the outside world and instead of trying to change your environment, start from your internal state. Shift it to the internal state of the person who already has the things that you want to have, or who is productive. Well, if you change it to the state of the person who already has the things that you have, you will automatically become productive. So you're sitting there and you're like, I really want to get to 10K a month, but these tasks, they just seem unattainable. It's hard for me to do these things. If you just say stuff like, and if you start to truly believe it and feel that way, stuff like, I make $10,000 a month. It's easy for me. I make $10,000 a month. Last month, I made $10,000. I make $10,000. I don't want to reaffirm it because that's not who I am. I make a lot more than that. But if you just say these things, the work will start to become very easy, and you're going to want to just get it done because you know that you are that version. That's just who you are. You're the guy that makes $10,000 a month. You're gonna take the necessary steps, which might be getting done with your to-do list and then making a new one, and then so on and so forth. And you're just gonna get it done effortlessly if you just shift your internal state to the right one. But again, none of this is going to matter if you don't actually feel that way. If you just make the affirmations or say these things out loud and you just say them just to say it, just because because I said you should do these things, it's not going to change anything unless you actually believe that and you actually say it and you feel that way. You picture in your head getting that $10,000 check at the end of the month, or closing clients, or looking at the Shopify dashboard with $10,000 in your brain. You need to automatically picture these things. If you don't, you're most likely not actually going to be affected by the affirmations or any other means of affirming your new identity. So I hope this was helpful. I've tried to make it very easy to understand, and thanks for watching.